today we're gonna be doing a little bit of in-depth reasoning. So this is Robert, big up yourself. We're gonna talk about your country today. So I'm gonna send the link to you in case you want to jump in to make the corrections to whatever may I put forward. Zane, also we're gonna speak a little bit about the Prime Minister of Jamaica being concerned about Skeng getting banned and ensure and whatever else. Yeah. So let us reason on this. Iran seems to say he can sue because he's illegally on because it's illegal on Guyana's part. I don't know if you can sue anybody from banning you from their country. I don't think you can sue. Walter Rodney was banned in Jamaica. That caused a whole riot. Not even riot, protest. Them call it riot. Back in the days, students them protested against the banning of Walter Rodney. And nothing came of it. You share make up some story that the people that were leading the protest were anti-white and anti-brown skinned people, and they were like terrorists. Back in those days, it would be a different argument. Them never called terrorists them days there. Them call them the black liberators were seen as terrorists them days there. So let us reason on this and try and make sense of it. If time allows, we want to dig in as much as we can. So fasten your seatbelt. Might be a rough ride. Zane? So of course you saw this. Skeng banned from performing at public events in Guyana. Jamaica dancehall artist Skeng has been banned from performing at public events in Guyana following a shooting incident at a concert where he performed. The country's public security minister, Robeson Ben, made the announcement while speaking at the opening of the Community Relations Department of the Guyana Public Force on Friday morning. According to him, said no artist like Skeng will ever come again into this country under the signature of any person from the Ministry of Home Affairs or from Guyana Police Force. So in other words, them not go sign off on none of these artists getting any permits or promoters getting permits to bring any of these artists to Guyana. That means we are talking about artists like Joshi, we are talking about artists like Skeng, then we are talking about, and I don't want to start name artists because just in case one artist going to fly under the radar. But this is basically saying no artist will sing any type of violent lyrics, any type of lewd lyrics. I think them said lewd lyrics too. Let me just read further. Meanwhile, Ben, while speaking, emphasized that Skeng and other artists who have a record of promoting vulgar behavior will not be given. Where's something gone? Okay. Vulgar behavior will not be given permission to appear on a public stage, but will be allowed to make private appearances. So I guess them can influence the people them privately, but them cannot influence them publicly. That is what he's saying. So you can, you can do it in increments. You can corrupt or you can lead astray, a small portion at a time. So Skeng and others can go. You can go as many times as you want to Guyana, but you will not be able to, convert the whole masses, a large amount of people at the same time with your lyrics and your vulgarity. Zane? But you can do club shows where you can do it in small increments. Yeah, too. Yeah, so you are allowed to go to clubs. Club people, them all right. Them can deal with the gun lyrics and the whatever. Zane? So while Skeng and many other artists who have a record of promoting, so let me read that already. Lewdness, vulgar and lawless behavior, including the firing of gunshots in. This is important. This is important. While Skeng and any other artists who have a record of promoting vulgar and lawless behavior, including the firing of gunshots in public places, will not be granted permission to appear on a public stage, they could still make private club appearance and behave as badly as they want. So the Minister here is saying the artists them were promoting vulgar and lawless behavior. That means broke out and why not not gonna be allowed anymore. So I guess that including all man like me where have sung that's about broke out. Including firing gunshots in public places. I don't know if Skeng them have songs where I tell people to fire gunshots in public places. I don't know if that still. I understand them have gun lyrics. Yeah, them have gun lyrics. And so me personally think say gun lyrics, a soundtrack for badness. So me not go take back my talk from that. But the question I have to ask the minister is, are you going to ban all the movies and all the games from Guyana where the US companies they make, or anything outside of Jamaica? Anything made outside of Jamaica is allowed, because me not think you go ban all of them violent games there. We make in a China, we make in America, we make in a different regions. Our white people make. Me not think you go ban the movies them were shooting and killing a Guyana. Are you gonna ban Netflix? You see, let me just. Should I read more of this? I don't need to read more of this. The announcement stands on the shooting incident. Okay. The announcement stands on the shooting incident in the Badaration concert where the artist was performing. The incident occurred as the 21-year-old was performing his popular song, Protocol. The shooting caused the event to end in chaos as patrons ran for their lives. A vendor from the east, where is Robert Rumveld, Joshua was arrested following the incident, and an illegal 9mm firearm with one live round of ammunition was seized. Skeng whose given name is Kevin Douglas is so that going for that. So a man fire a shot at the event. First and foremost, if somebody got into the event with an illegal firearm, you have to blame that on the promoters, because there should have been protocols put in place to stop illegal firearms or an ammunition to go inside of a venue. I'm quite sure if you're bringing in American artists or pop artists, you're gonna have proper security at the gates. So not because you're bringing in a Jamaican artist. If the Jamaican artist is bringing the same amount of people to the venue that a pop artist brings, then you have to put the same type of security protocol in place. You understand? You cannot blame this on an artist, for somebody coming to the venue with an illegal firearm and fired a shot. You see, common sense is not common anymore, I guess. So to make it sound as if Skeng was the one who brought some people into the venue to fire a gunshot is ridiculous. To make it sound as if Skeng gave instruction for someone to fire a gunshot is ridiculous. Yeah? So back to the point I make. Back to the point that I'm making. Roomvelt, thank you, Keen. My point is why this is such a big, why this is such a big news, but we not hear nothing about the violent video games and the violent movies, them and all of them things there. Is this because we are Jamaicans? Is this like some form of prejudice? So the Prime Minister of Jamaica spoke on this, and of course, I disagree with what the Prime Minister, well, maybe not disagree, but I wouldn't have come out the way the Prime Minister come out to address this, if I even address it. Because I'm sure say, them not ban the other things them where promote violence in a Guyana. So for us to be like jumping on the ban everything wagon and ban the artists them wagon and ban the young youth them wagon, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. And anybody can say where them no one in them country, but if it's clean, y'all trying to clean up Guyana by banning the artists them from Jamaica. Well, I think you have more than lyrics to clean up Guyana. And the minister and your team, you can always put a ban out for me too. But I think you have more than lyrics to clean up. Yeah? I think But the Prime Minister something there. I think Prime Minister Andrew Holness, I think you should be more this concern you concern about lyric artists getting banned from Guyana is to me is trivial. Because there are bigger concerns that we should be more concerned about, which I'll point out in a minute from that of what's going on in Guyana. But let's listen to the Prime Minister quickly.
When another country say, I don't want your artists in my country. When another country say, I don't want your artists in my country. It's an embarrassment. And we see it trickling down into the fights in the schools. We are concerned. We are very, very concerned and worried about it. What has happened to us as Jamaicans is that we're being defined by some very limited things. You know, wap wap and chop chop and ensure and all of them. All of those things have their place, but they can't define us. We should not allow that to define us. When another country say, I don't want your artists in my country. It's an embarrassment. And we see it trickling down into the fights in the schools. We are concerned. We are very, very concerned and worried about it. What has happened to us as Jamaicans is that we're being defined by some very limited things. You know, wap wap and chop chop and ensure and all of them. All of those things have their place, but they can't define us. We should not allow that to define us.
Well, the Prime Minister, so we cannot allow those things to define us, the wap wap and chop chop. I ain't sure one thing in the Prime Minister, and I'm lucky, you know. One thing in the Prime Minister, you know, him miss a beat, you know. Clerks and everything. You see what I say? That is one thing with our Prime Minister. I'm lucky in him know the streets, him know the shreps. Yeah? Our Prime Minister know the shreps until election time, you know. If a man want a special for wap wap, we can edit it so the man can use it in a street campaign. You see, that's how yeah, me I get that trouble, sir. I swear I get that trouble. But we have to be, you know, objective on them things as people. We can't be biased. But we just talk the truth, don't it? We have to talk the truth. We can't allow wap wap and ensure to define us. Mr. Prime Minister, what should concern you more than wap wap and chop chop and ensure is the Mali pills and where come through the ports. Is the Mali pills and where come through the wharf. Is the Mali pills and where the synthetic drugs them, the synthetic drugs that are coming into Jamaica through the wharfs and the ports them. That is what I want to hear about, you know, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Prime Minister, I would like, you know what is concerning to us Jamaicans? The weapon guns them that coming into the country. Wap wap and ensure. How is it name? And choppings. That is the least of my problem in comparison when compared with the amount of ecstasy and all the illegal drugs, the synthetic drugs that coming into Jamaica. But you see what goes viral? My general, you see what goes viral? You just talking about Skeng and wap wap and chop chop. And when you speak about it, Mr. Prime Minister, when you speak about wap wap and chop chop and ensure, it's promoting it, you know. Mr. Prime Minister, you give this as, listen me, the promotion that you give to ensure right now is no ensure gonna sell. The Prime Minister talk about it. Mr. Prime Minister, we have a big problem with what coming through the wharf and what coming through the ports them. Because remember, we don't manufacture guns in Jamaica and ammunition. So how we have so many guns and ammunition in Jamaica? Remember when we spoke, when you were just running your first, when you were running the first time, I think the first time, you said you had a plan to clean up crime, and you had a security plan in a plan for criminals in place when them leave jail and them thing there. Like, you had a plan. But so far, we are weird still. We are weird still, General. Who know you love your clerks, but guess you walk slow on that. But Mr. Prime Minister, you know what should concern you more coming out of Guyana? A future oil spill that is going to destroy the whole Caribbean, according to scientists. The amount of drilling that is going on in Guyana right now and the greed for oil that is going on in Guyana right now. Guyana talking about Skeng and other artists coming into Guyana as a main issue, as if it is a main topic of concern or a main cause for what's going on. Mr. Prime Minister, you know what I want to hear you talk about? The oil spill that is about to happen with all the drilling and the greed that is going on in Guyana. Because anytime one of these oil spill happens, it will be death and destruction on the ecosystem. On the livestock, on the marine lives. Nobody will be talking about whap and chop and ensure and banning Skeng. The Guyanese government can always, or the Guyanese minister, whoever they are, can always come with this distraction from the real issues. When they're not talking about how Guyana people are not seeing the benefits from the oil, in a time now where oil is so expensive, the Guyanese people continue to live in poverty. When they are finding oil all over Guyana, these ministers can always come and use Skeng as a scapegoat to hide from the real issues. When they're destroying forestry, when all the different species, Guyana has so many species that scientists go to Guyana to study these species. And these species are going to go extinct with all the deforestation that is going on and all the drilling that is going on in Guyana. Skeng won't solve the problem of corruption in Guyana or anywhere in the Caribbean. We have a bigger issue to think about than think about Skeng and his lyrics. We need to think about in a few years and what is going to impact the climate negatively with all the drilling that is going on. An oil spill, according to scientists, is imminent. And
I stood there and looked on and did nothing. Our silence on this crooked ExxonMobil contract has most of the Guyanese in a critical state, just like that woman. Yes. We are all in the intensive care unit, breathing through a machine, fighting to stay alive with the crimes the ExxonMobil contract is doing to us. Guys, only God Almighty can save us if we do not get that crooked, lopsided ExxonMobil contract changed. And I can't be the only neighbors seeing and objecting to the crimes being committed against us. It shouldn't be. No, man, no, I need your help. The oil companies is presently committing unspeakable acts of atrocities, criminality, destruction, and devastation to our livelihoods and that of future generations. Please wake up, Guyana, and say something. Please say something, because our political leaders is not taking any action to save us. You don't need Glenn Lal to help you see that. It is clear in the Kaicho News and on my radio programs almost every day. Let me show you how we are all in the intensive care unit in the hospital. You may want to grab a pen and a piece of paper to do the maths with me to keep us records. Guys, you have a mango tree in your yard. A picker came and conned your parents with 2% royalty and a 50-50 profit sharing, but I don't know they were conned. The business startup and the parents don't know until now they were conned. All you hear, the picker and your parents saying, big profit will come. Money will fall like raindrops. Yes. That is what Exxon and our leaders are telling all Guyana with that crooked contract they signed. The picker brings in his equipment and the price he put on it value more than the mango tree. Let me repeat, man. The machine the man bring to pick the mango costs more than the machine, costs more than the mango on the tree. But your parents don't know it. All they have in their mind is what the picker tell them, profit gonna come. Yeah. Yeah. Money will fall from the sky. It's like a relationship. You only hear the sweet and positive side of the man or the woman. You hear all the nice things about each other. You don't know the evil side of the partner. You don't know the dark side of each other. You don't even know what they're planning for you. We don't know the devious, guys, we don't know the devious side of Exxon and the rest of the oil people. No, we don't know yet. Oil is pumping, and this is laughable, guys. We got sitting in the overseas bank $357 million that we collected from 2019 to now. And end of March this year, they sent us 22 million more. They said that is royalty. It takes us to $379 million. Yes, 379 million. And we had to borrow 500 million in the 2021 budget for paid nurses, police, soldiers, pensioners, teachers, the entire public servants, fix the roads, clean the drains, buy drugs for the hospitals, fix the bridges, fix the flooding, fix our city fences, fix the sewage system, fix our water system, fix GPL, and do all the other things necessary to run this country. Yes, 379 million US. Guyana, this is not chicken feed. This is not even the dust from the chicken feed we get in from that ExxonMobil contract. This is poison down we throat in the intensive care unit where we are. This is what is going on in Liza 1 in real time, brothers and sisters. We have the same agreement with the second mango tree, which is Liza 2. Guys, the third one, Payara, or Liza 3, is even worse than the second mango tree. Guys, having seen and heard all of that with Liza 1, 2, and 3 mango trees, your parents, yes, the leaders of this country, Mr. Jagdev in particular, is in a rush, full speed, to give them Liza 4, which is Yellowtail. And the opposition playing numb and dumb on it. This fourth project, brothers and sisters, is the grandfather of all evil to Guyana. 1, 2, and 3. Hear me carefully. 1, 2, and 3 is enough poison already to take us out of the intensive care unit, meaning we can still breathe a little bit if we correct them. But Liza 4, the yellowtail, will take all of us to the cremation site or the burial ground if you don't want to be cremated or burned. Guyana, we could have stopped them in their tracks with Payara, the third project. But the financial guru, our Vice President Bara Jagdeo, run ahead like a jet plane and approved that project.
All right, so because we have some other documents I want to pull forward, you can check out this. I'm gonna actually put the link. But you can check out the fullness of this piece. It's a very important piece. But because of time, but because of time, we're gonna drop the link. See? Just drop the link so you can check it out. Right? I remember we are present information that is in the public domain. So anybody want to whatever. Just know that we are presenting information that is already out there. See? So it is what it is. Zane? No, my glasses are lean. Damn. Good now? Yeah. So check out what's going on now. Check out the scapegoat, this distraction that is going on, Guyana people. Guyanese people, West Indian people, because this now is not a Guyanese problem, you know. This is not just a Guyanese problem, you know. Yeah? This is not just a Guyanese problem. I don't want no one feel like say, oh, we are talking about Guyana and our country and leave Guyana business, make Guyana people deal with Guyana. This is not just a Guyana problem, you know. It's a Caribbean problem coming up, you know, people. This is a Caribbean problem. See? So check out a piece of this.
A recent investigation for The Guardian is titled Exxon's Oil Drilling Gamble off Guyana Coast Poses Major Environmental Risk. Can you talk about ExxonMobil's massive new oil project in Guyana, which is thousands of miles away, projected to be the corporation's largest oil production in the world, coming despite desperate climate warnings against new fossil fuel development? Guyana currently a carbon sink. So you say it's at risk of turning into a carbon bomb, and then relate it to what we're seeing in the Gulf.
Yeah, so Exxon has said that it is committed to helping meet the Paris climate goals of reducing global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. It has said that it is aware of the climate crisis and is taking steps to reduce things like flaring of methane and to move into a less carbon-intensive model of production. At the same time, it is through this new project in Guyana, turning a country that was a non-oil producer, right now into a massive oil producer with a prediction of 9 billion barrels of oil to be produced in Guyana. And so this is brand new development. Exxon moved in 2015, started production in late 2019. So is making this decision now at a time when institutions, including the International Energy Agency, have said to avert the worst of the climate crisis, there can be no new fossil fuel production. And in the midst of that consensus emerging, Exxon's going to bring its largest oil production, predicted to be its largest oil production in the world, online in Guyana. So that is obviously a huge mismatch of rhetoric and reality. In my article it's an article for The Guardian and Floodlight. I found that this production would release 125 million metric tons of carbon dioxide per year from 2025 to at least 2040. That's the equivalent of 15 coal facilities operating every year annually. But not only, and Exxon is flaring consistently from these operations, even though it said that it would not, and it's not supposed to, and that also releases methane and more carbon-intensive operations. But in terms of the safety to communities and lessons learned from things like the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster here in the Gulf of Mexico, I had Dr. Robert B., who is one of the world's most renowned experts at the University of California, Berkeley, and one of the most trusted experts on the BP Deepwater Horizon disaster, many other offshore disasters, formerly worked for Shell, reviewed 1,000 pages of Exxon's permits and other submissions to the government of Guyana for its offshore operations there. And these are deep water, ultra deep water operations, very technologically complex, very risky operations off the shore of Guyana. And he said that Exxon's plans were superficial, were putting forward improbable predictions of what their capacity was to address and put in place the necessary safety mechanisms for operating in this dangerous type of production. And that they were taking, and what another person I interviewed, Dr. Vincent Adams, who is the former head of Guyana's Environmental Protection Agency, as well as Melinda Janke, an international environmental lawyer from Guyana, who wrote many of Guyana's environmental laws, they both said Guyana completely lacks the capacity to oversee these operations, to be a regulator of these operations. Those
Again, I'm going to put this link so you can watch this in its entirety. So I'm just going to some short sources where we can make the reasoning, so we can make the reasoning more cogent. You see what I say? So there's another link where you can check out. See? No. Again, please note that we are using information that is in the public domain. All right? We know so we can't bring the ban, but of course, just know that what we are doing is giving information or presenting information that is peer-reviewed and information from scientists. All right? Or it seems like I can't share. What's going on here? I never occur while trying to share. Come on, I can't share the link when we just post. That means I'm going to get a flag feed. Let me see, test. Oh, come on, I can't share the link when we just post a while ago. So you have to go look it up yourself. Hopefully, them don't flag the page feed. Anyway, potential discovery looms off the coast of Guyana. Following the discovery of oil off the coast of Guyana, fossil fuel industry giant rushed to sign a contract with the government The resulting deal is shockingly unjust and devastatingly reckless. Fossil fuels have profoundly impacted the world in which we live today. Their proponents insist that without them, we cannot continue to enjoy the standard of living that wealthy countries have come to expect. But this misleading narrative fails to take into account that fossil fuels have had negative impacts as well. Greenhouse gas emissions from burning fossil fuels have already warmed our planet to record-breaking temperatures. Check last week, so I just come from. Cause glacier and ice to melt and a blistering pace. Created more intense natural disasters from stronger typhoons and increasing wildfires, driven many species to the brink of extinction and devastating countless communities in the front line of the climate crisis. Yet fossil fuels companies still perpetuate the myth that their products are necessary and will bring massive wealth. As a result, communities around the globe have suffered at the hands of the greed of corruption that permeates the fossil fuel industry. This time, Guyana. Guyana, a small country in the Caribbean region of South America, is home to breathtaking natural beauty from the Atlantic Ocean along the northern coast to towering mountains in the west and the Amazon rainforest in the north. Nearly 85% of the country is covered by forest, and its rich biodiversity. But for years, Guyana has struggled with stagnant economic development and slow growth. So when ExxonMobil announced that they had discovered oil, ExxonMobil discovered oil, some in the media claim the discovery, pay attention to this because we're going to come back to this, discovered oil. Look at the timeline and the chronology, right? Some in the media claim the discovery will transform the country, making it a major oil exporter and potentially even the richest country in the world. You hear that, Guyanese people? Wake up and smell the coffee and stop talking about Skeng and mash up on the country. I come to mash up on the country. The richest country in the world because poverty breeds crime. Again, poverty contributes to crime, not just lyrics that artists singing and a man fire a shot in a stage show. Poverty leads to crime. So your country, Guyana, is supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world presently based on what is going on in Russia and Ukraine. Look at your oil price. Look at how much to fill up your car. Look at how much you're paying for gas. So it's inexcusable for Guyanese people not to be wealthy. I want for Guyana to be the most wealthy country in the world right now, maybe in the world, or in the Caribbean, or in the Western Hemisphere. Rich. Wealthy. Skeng is a distraction, Guyanese and Caribbean people. Real countrymen, frame this way. The discovery seems like a godsend, a long-awaited opportunity for Guyana to shake the chains of underdevelopment. Remember, Guyana has been struggling for years and the devaluation of the dollar. So for years you've been struggling, and now you find oil, and you're not the beneficiaries. Guyana is the promised land. But the reality reveals a grim, more insidious truth. Following the discovery of Guyanese oil, industry giants rushed to sign a contract with the government. The resulting deal is shockingly unjust, devastatingly reckless, and just rotten for the people of Guyana. Enter a fair deal for Guyana, a fair deal for the planet. Led by Raman Gaskin, a Guyanese citizen and activist, and Melinda Janki, an environmental lawyer and native of Guyana. Fair deal is challenging that they believe is an illegal deal that will jeopardize the future of the Guyanese people and the planet as a whole. Building up what Transparency Institute Guyana calls either grand corruption or grand incompetence. Fair deal argues that the arrangement between Guyana's government and the three oil companies threaten the future of the country and the planet. So I don't want no Guyanese jump up in my timeline to about leave Guyana business alone. Because we're just near to Guyana right here, so. This is a make call for concern worldwide. 4 major themes underscore this case. 1, the deal is illegal. Check this out. Following the discovery of oil, 3 companies, Exxon, Hess, and CNOOC, Nexen, have obtained license to drill. Mr. Wolness, Yeah, worry about Skeng getting banned from Guyana. Worry about this drilling. But here's the problem. The deal itself is illegal. I'm not going to see what illegal about it. Big up to the vloggers and when we can talk when somebody get born or Dexter dance with somebody. And then they come tell you about come off the internet. And them thing I don't need to start do some research pan. But of course, I'm shallow. Guyanese campaigners mount legal challenge against 3 oil companies. Crowdfunding claims offshore oil licenses were granted illegally by Guyanese government. Right? This is what out there, Miss Guyana. You know, worry about Skeng lyrics them. At this, you know, must start about. See this thing in the middle on the ocean? You see this thing in the middle? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Guyanese people. Guyanese people. I've been to Guyana so many times and I've seen where the water recedes and then come back in at the evening. Nature is your best friend. And Guyanese people that are supporting illegal drilling and unconscionable drilling, you are going to pay. Not only you, you know, we in the Caribbean region and the United States of the coast, we are going to pay. The extinction of the species them and the birds them will contribute to will give it oxygen and the trees them will give it oxygen. We are going to pay. Y'all can run with this Skeng story that y'all running with because y'all want to distract the people from the real issues. But we are going to pay dearly. Our generation to come is gonna pay. 3 major. So this is as you can see, offshore drilling off the coast of Guyana is being seen as the most sought after prospect in the world for oil companies. You hear it? Most sought after prospect. You have a reason for concern, Mr. Holness. Here's your reason for concern. Everything is by design, people. This war that is going on, people, because them have another target. Forget the replacement. Guyana. They don't care about what's going to happen. They don't care about the oil spill. We're going to kill off the fish. They don't want fish to eat. And then they don't get poison. And destroying the water system. Who's going to clean up the oil spill when it happens? Them still not clean up the coast of Mexico yet. Analysts predict offshore drilling could provide 350,000 to 400,000 barrels a day. Per day. Y'all can ban me no one, no give me no sitting for perform in a Guyana. I'm an old man now. Soon dead and gone. So you don't have to bring me back to Guyana. But this is for the people. Because Walter Rodney stood with us Jamaicans. I want to ban him from Jamaica. This is Walter Rodney. 22, Walter Rodney. The new Walter Rodney or the Walter Rodney reincarnation. Reciprocity. Yeah. Him stand up with we are stand up with him now. I stand up with Fim region. So it go, right? That's how it go. So it simply means that we are the Guyanese people, my brother and sister. That's what I'm trying to say. You see? 3 major oil companies preparing to drill off the shores of Guyana, where a string of discoveries have sparked a rush for crude, are being challenged by a group of citizens who say their dash for oil is illegal. Lawyers acting for the Guyanese campaigners are to lodge the latest challenge in a court in Guyana this week. They are funding the battle against oil giants Exxon Mobil, Hess Corporation, and Exxon, a subsidiary of the Chinese National Oil. Hey, here you go. Offshore drilling off the coast of Guyana is seen as one of the most sought after prospects in the world for oil companies. Analysts predict offshore drilling to provide that amount. We read that already. But concerned citizens of the small South America country, which has never been an oil producer, is now an oil producer. You know. Guyana is now an oil producer. Are challenging the oil giants. When you see the giants, them in a little small. Listen, and you can go and read this. I'm not going to read all of this because I have enough time. Listen, when Guyana dollar was devaluing and Guyana people living in poverty, and still living in poverty, but I'm talking about before they found the oil. Where were these rich corporations? And as the presenter said earlier on, why is Guyana borrowing money from lenders to pay for teachers and infrastructure and all of these things when you're producing 300 to 400,000 barrels of oil per day? Let's talk. Come, let us talk. Let us weigh Skeng issues with Guyana's real issues and the impact of oil drilling issues with Skeng lyrics. Give me a scale. Give me a scale. This is no different from what France is doing to Africa, where all the resources coming from, but yet still we're borrowing money. That they take the money that they owe us, they're keeping it in corporation. Or in corporations, and then lending us back the money, and we have to pay interest on the money. You taking my money, keeping my money, and telling me to borrow back the money, and then you pay, and then I have to pay your interest on it. Let's skip down to this. Oil giants took advantage of Guyana. And if this wasn't enough from the beginning, the negotiations between Guyana's government and Exxon Mobil, Hess and Exxon, the three oil companies poised to begin drilling, have been rife with corruption. Rife with corruption. As Skeng now worry about? Before the negotiations even began, the companies paid the Guyanese government $18 million through a secret account. Guyanese people don't make them trick on here. Walter Rodney, 22.22. Listen to this now. This is what we learned. You remember we learned. Remember I showed you when I was doing this. Which course I was doing again? Imhotep. What was it? Course I was doing again? I was doing a course last year, and I sent Imhotep a screenshot of this. So I am actually cognizant of this, what is going on here, because I did a course on it. Right? Then through negotiations, the oil companies managed to extract an impressively generous deal from the Guyanese government. It ensures that the oil companies themselves will pay no taxes. No taxes in Guyana. Not a single cent. Plus, and this people is something we can fact check. So nobody can come say, oh, it's politics, this and politics, that, because we're talking about Guyana. We're not talking about a political party and who was wrong and who was right in the government. This is a deal that we can pull up the information on. Not a single cent. Plus, though they agreed to provide the Guyanese people with royalties from the oil sales, these are set at a mere 2%. 2%. You see, the man was giving you the analogy of the mango tree. Is your mango tree? Somebody come find a mango tree. Decide say, them a go spend a next amount of money, excuse me, to reap the mangoes. So them tell us, if I find a mango tree in your yard, it's bearing nicely, but I need to pay 100,000 to pick the mangoes. But the estimate when them give to pick the mangoes, they're telling you that, oh, but you may not generate that amount of sales. So you're going to have to wait for the future. You're going to have to wait on some royalty, and you're only getting 2% of royalties from your own mango tree. You own because we have to go pay if you pick the mango them. Me come find the mango tree and I say, no, because me a pay if you climb the tree and me a pay if you pick the mango them. Me only go give you 2%. Guyanese government, at least the artists them doing better. Because we getting 15% of our albums. It ensures that the oil companies themselves would pay no taxes in Guyana, not a single cent. Plus, though they agree to provide the Guyanese people with royalties from the oil sales, they are set at a mere 2%. They are set at a mere 2%. And while the oil companies promise that there will be astronomical profits, you see, it's like a promise, yo, there's going to be a lot of profit off of the mango, them, you know. But you know, so we have to pay enough money to pick them. The government has no say as to how these profits are calculated, meaning the companies have free reign to decide just how much revenue they are willing to surrender to the people of Guyana. Let that sink in. This is what I want to get to, because this concerns everybody. Building a new fossil fuel infrastructure is irresponsible and will accelerate the climate crisis. If we are to have any chance to keep global temperatures rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius, we can ill afford new fossil fuel infrastructure. The science is abundantly clear, yet all companies insist on continuing their reckless activity in a last gasp attempting to save their flailing bottom line. Is it flailing? Let me see. Flailing bottom line. Extracting. That means not them are try save them low end from falling out. Yeah. Wave swing trash river, right? Extracting the burning Guyana's oil reserves will drastically spike emissions and accelerate the climate crisis at a time when what is needed is as just transaction to a clean energy future. And it will turn Guyana from a carbon sink, which it is currently is, into a carbon emitter. This is a pivotal moment in Guyanese history that will impact the country and the world for decades to come. In the end, every decision to develop fossil fuels in the face of an ongoing climate crisis is a decision to jeopardize the future of the planet and all people and all animals living on it. Mr. Prime Minister, this is what you should be concerned about, not ensure. Can you imagine how Caribbean brothers found oil on their land, and it's the same colonizers them and the neo-colonialism agenda and the neoliberalism agenda is in full effect. Our brothers, our neighboring brothers, we look like us, we have big nose like us, we have black skin like us, we have whatever. Then now you see why the black people them will continue to be poor and continue to be under oppression. You see? Because if our neighboring brother found some oil on his land and we as black people cannot join together, Andrew Wellness is here worrying about ensure and wap. Andrew Wellness, you and the government of Guyana should be in partnership. The whole Caribbean should be in partnership with Guyana. We should be the one where responsibly, in a responsible way, benefiting from oil found off these shores. And the same way, if we happen to find some oil or water in Jamaica, because water is necessary, so we can trade water with oil and so forth and so on. How must we have a neighboring brother and we still allow the same colonizers them to come in and take the benefits and take the rewards. If you allow these people, then put you back on ship and send you back to the regions where them already destroy all the elements, took all the resources. If you allow these people to continue doing what they're doing and you say nothing but worrying about wap and ensure, we will soon be loaded back on ships and put in regions where they already raped the environment and the earth. And send us over there to eat the dirt from the nuclear. You're worrying about wap and all these nonsense. Y'all getting up every day talking about the little boy, them what them singing, this and what them. We have bigger issues. We have major issues. Nigeria people down there fighting Christian and Islamic war, black people, Negroes, fighting Islamic and Christian wars, killing each other when Nigeria is producing the most oil in the region and don't have a refinery. We have to send the oil to get refined and then buy it back. You know, it's the black people. You know, who knows it's the black people? No sense, man. You know, see how we curse yourself. Every day we get to hallelujah, Jesus is coming to save us. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, hallelujah. And robbing your little brother of him little shillings. You're robbing your little brother of the little bit that he has. When your government, your corrupted leaders, making deals to send oil from your country to other country to get it refined, and then you have to buy it back. The money from your resources is being sent in holding, and you have to borrow back the money and then pay interest on your own money. If somebody wrote this in a book and shared it with us, we would have said, no, it's nonsense. We would say the story. They make it up. If we watch this in a movie, we would say it's fiction. But we know of a fact that it is happening, and we still say, we're not paying attention to it. It is not a fiction, people. But it's happening right now in our backyard, Guyana. We've just banned Skeng, and anybody we are sing vulgar lyrics. Let me tell you what's vulgar, Guyana people. Tell your government and your minister them we are ban Skeng and ban vulgar lyrics. Tell your ministers what is vulgar is when the oil gonna spill in the ocean and destroy the marine lives them. That is vulgar when the food that you're gonna get from the ocean is gonna be contaminated. That is vulgar. When all the species them go into extinction and climate change takes full effect, that is vulgar. Just a side note. Just a recess to drink water.
Okay. So, Speaker, I beg to give notice that...
1 minute. That's notice of motion given orally.
I beg to give notice that at the next meeting of the House, I will move the following motion. Whereas the Auditor General's report on the state of affairs at the Caribbean Maritime University was delivered to the House of Representatives prior to Tuesday, January 14th, 2020. And whereas on receiving the report, the Speaker had an unconditional duty under Section 122(2) of the Constitution. I did that.
No, Mr. Robinson, you did not.
Mr.
You
Speaker,
have no authority to do that.
Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Robinson, I spoke to you
Mr. Speaker,
and you agreed with me
I didn't agree with anything.
that you came late.
I did not agree with anything.
Mr. Robinson,
I sent
you know what?
to the Speaker,
You know what? Mr.
copy
Robinson,
to the clerk
if
of
you
the
can
House.
do that, then
I sent to the
I am not going to be
Speaker
here.
properly,
If you
copy to
can
the
get up
clerk
and
of the
dictate
House,
that
who
you
can
want to carry a
acknowledge receiving my motion
speaking, Mr.
in
Robinson.
due time. It was sent to you,
Mr.
copied
Robinson,
to the clerk.
the Speaker is standing. Please sit.
Well, I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to sit. You have accused me that I agree with something. Agree with what? I sent you a copy of the motion in time. No, but they mustn't say that. I sent you, no, ask the clerk. The clerk, I sent you, copied the clerk. Don't do that. But you don't get the motion. Don't do that. Do not do that. No, I take my integrity seriously, you know. If I send you a motion and I copy the clerk, don't come here and tell me that I don't send you a motion. Don't do that.
You lie.
What?
I am
Who
not
is
going
lying?
to say here and make you lie to me.
You're accusing me of lying?
No, Mr. Speaker,
I'm
You're accusing me of lying?
No,
That's
No,
not
let me
speaking
go
the
to the
truth.
email. I sent to you, copied the clerk, the motion. I brought it to you, signed, and I told you that. Don't tell me about a lie. Why you come accuse me of lying?
I am not going to stay here and have you accuse me of lying.
I sent you a copy of
You
the clerk is here. The clerk is here.
You sent a resolution
I
to the
sent
clerk.
it to you, copied the clerk. The clerk is here. Make the clerk show you. You were copied. I sent it from about 10:30 this morning. Why you come call me about liar? You think I take them things as joke? Don't do that.
Mr. Robbins, have a seat.
No,
have a
don't
seat.
do that.
Have a seat. please.
Don't do that.
Have a seat. Let me speak to the leader. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Let me say, have a seat. Let me speak. Mr. Robinson sent a resolution to the clerk. Order. He didn't send it to me.
I sent it to you
How you send it to me?
by email.
Mr. Robinson, I don't read email in Parliament.
Listen. Don't make me make trivial.
Have a seat.
decision.
Have a
Do
seat.
not make trivial.
Have a seat. Let me
decision.
finish my
I
present.
sent it to you via email. I copied the clerk. As
Mr.
I always
Robinson,
do.
have a seat.
I brought a hard copy when I came to the Parliament, signed, and went into your office and gave you. What do you mean I don't send it to you?
Have a seat, Mr.
Don't do that.
Robinson.
It's 9. I copied you on it. 9:28. I sent
You
the
may
email.
have sent
And
it
you
to
see
me.
the email there.
1
right?
minute. You may have
Speaker,
sent it to
on
me.
a point of
I
order.
told you, Mr. Smith,
On a
I'm speaking.
point of
Have
order,
a
I
seat.
have a right to rise on a
I
point of
told you,
order.
Mr.
It has
Robinson,
to do with you.
that the clerk
Mr.
has
Speaker.
advised me of a resolution that you
Mr.
have
Speaker,
sent
there is a point
concerning
of
me,
order.
and we decide that it
There-
will be sent to the Deputy Speaker.
You must yield when there's a point of
Since it's a
order.
matter that I would not deal with it.
Anyway, that was like a side note. It's just speaking on vulgarity. And there words was, but we just showed you a little taste of vulgar. Yeah. Anyway, back to the reason. I had to get some water. My throat was drying out, you know. You know, my guy and your boy, you know, my throat drying out, no boy. Are you trying to talk to all these guys and a boy? Mother's cunt. Let me see this one. All right, so where we're at. So let us look at this one quickly. So we can get right. Guyana seeks higher royalties, revamped terms for new oil contracts. So them still assign contracts. You see, people wake up and smell the coffee. Guyana aims to increase its oil royalties and revamp other contracts terms as part of new profit sharing agreement for future crude and gas project now in its draft stage, the South American nation's vice president said on Tuesday. The tiny country has become one of the most desired oil exploration hotspots after an Exxon Mobil led group, including US-based Hess Corporation and China's CNOOC Limited, discovered about 9 billion barrels of recoverable oil and gas off its coast. What is interesting, brethren and sisters, you know what is interesting? Every time we see deal signed, we have never seen an African country in the agreements. No partnership with no African countries. China, Europe, and America. No African country is rich enough to be involved in any of the deals. But yet still we are the ones who are loyal to whatever dogma, deity, or whatever them give we. And claim say that come save we. That is what's going to come save us. So them not to include us in any deals. None. No countries from Africa or African nation. Unless you're in Saudi Arabia. And if you want to call it Africa, you may. You see the color of the skin. Madam. Oh, before I look at this one, let me show you this. Let me show you something. And I'm not going to speak much on this because I don't think I should be the only one having any form of. I don't think I'm the only one with any form of cognitive development that can understand simple ABC. But just look at this. Rex Tillerson. Rex Wayne Tillerson, born in the 20th, is an American engineer and energy executive who served as the 69th U.S. Secretary of State from February 1st, 2017 to March 31st, 2018 under President Donald Trump. Prior to joining the Trump administration, Tillerson was chairman and chief executive officer of CEO of Exxon Mobil, holding that position from 2006 to 2017. Wake up and smell the coffee. Me no need for digging at this. Wake up and smell the coffee. Wake up and smell the coffee. No matter about corruption and music, wake up and smell the coffee. Rex Tillerson conflict of interest in Guyana. One of the biggest and most immediate conflicts of interest Rex Tillerson will face as Secretary of State involved the small country of Guyana, where Exxon has booked huge oil finds in the last year. Tillerson, who oversees the State Department program that is writing environmental and other regulations for the country. Yeah, who's writing it? Isn't it? The CEO of our former CEO of Exxon Mobil, which is currently has no regulatory framework. State Department oversight of Exxon in Guyana. You can't make this up. The poor will be poorer still and the rich will be richer still. You're talking about y'all spreading and proliferating. Y'all proliferating Skeng getting banned in Guyana. Well, let us shed some light on the real corruption then. Let us shed some light on what is really negatively impacting the people. Let's shed light on that. When I want somebody to ban me. Oh, him not no big song, you know, so him no need to come to Guyana. So why him never talk long time? Because I know no just I get robbed. Blindly, in my opinion. Well, it's not even an opinion, because the scientists them say it. So let me say, according to scientists, and economics gurus, the Guyanese government faces the prospect of regulating a company which has an annual profit margin that is over 5 times larger than the Guyana's GDP. A joke this. With no technical expertise in offshore oil drilling and no experience handling superpowered corporations, Guyana faces the real possibility and suffering the resource curse, in which a place with massive resource wealth is pillaged and left for broke by bad management and predatory colonial practices. Interestingly, the State Department has recognized this dilemma. Under Secretary Clinton and the State of Department set up a program called the Energy Governance and Capacity Initiative. The characteristically Clintonian program, it aims to both promote fossil development and prevent the resource curse by providing independent oversight of the oil and gas industry in nascent oil states. The program is currently helping the Guyanese government to write profit-sharing agreements, environmental regulations, and develop a strong rule of law to counterbalance corporate power. There is righteous critique and of this from people who say the main outcome of such program will be to help Exxon profit from Guyana resources under patina of rule of law. While that critique may have been valid while Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, it will be inarguable fact if Rex Tillerson assumes secretaryship. And he did assume it. I'm going to read through no more of that. And I'll try and get this one out. as quickly as I can. Let me see this one. This one is a good one. All right. The extraction and consumption of oil fueling the climate crisis. It is, however, still part of our economy and continues to be extracted from many places, including the depths of the seas and the oceans, such as off the coast of Guyana. Contracts signed between government and companies organize the sharing of this economic wealth between populations and companies. They must be public so the public knows what share it will get of it. This is the case for any contract signed between a public entity and another entity. In 2016, the government of Guyana signed an oil contract with Exxon Mobil. Remember me telling you who run this? Remember who was the CEO before entering the government? You don't need to talk too loud. The main oil producers in this oil-rich country, you hear what this Guyana is? Guyana people, oil-rich country. And the largest non-state owned oil company in the world. You hear this? Largest non-state Guyanese people. Don't let them distract you, hear? Don't let them distract you. This is what is concerning Mr. Government of Jamaica. The contract was not made public. After months of demand from the publication, the government finally relented. At the end of 2017, the conclusion that Guyanese and international civil society have drawn from their analysis of the contract have led to demands for renegotiation, to which companies so far has not acceded. Them just say, yo, when I hear that and I don't sign the contract already, it's come like when you sign a contract with Green Steve and VP them, and then just say, you already signed. So no new negotiation, you already signed. The offshore discovery announced by Exxon since 2015 have made Guyana a very promising oil producer. Production only began in 2019, but is estimated at nearly 9 billion oil equivalent barrels for the Exxon Stabroek block operated in partnership with Hess and Nexen. The critical importance of Guyana's offshore field to Exxon was highlighted last year by Exxon announcement of an after-tax US 17 to 20 billion write-down and is focused on investing in high-value assets, first among which was the Guyana field. According to the energy expert, Exxon needs Guyana more than Guyana needs Exxon. At least Guyana's discoveries are especially important to Exxon, which you would think that this is logical, but they might get 2%. They are also of utmost importance to the Guyanese people who wait several years before being able to read detailed analysis of the contract. You see this? We're not about corruption and worry about Skeng. The Guyanese people just had access a few years ago to a contract that was signed 2015, when this tour came out. Just to put in perspective. 2021. In 2019, Kaita News, a major Guyanese publication, released a study comparing the then published Exxon contract with 130 other oil contracts published on resourcecontracts.org, a platform containing 620 previously published oil or mineral contracts. You know who for them contract, yeah? The same people them. No Africans included in them oil contracts with them are partnering with the elites, are the 1%. The study described the Exxon Guyana contract as at the bottom of the scale of all these contracts with a number of exorbitant provisions. These include an income tax exemption. Look at this. Look at this. Guyanese people, Caribbean people, neighboring brothers and sisters. Look at this atrocity. These include an income tax exemption, very low unemployment obligations, so they're not obligated to hire nobody from Guyana. Deferral of costs of unsuccessful wells to those of successful wells. No increase of royalties if production improves. No increase of royalties. You're going to stick with your 2% Guyana. Insurance premiums and financing costs fully covered by the contractor. You hear that? You hear that? And a public financial contribution to the decommissioning of facilities towards the end of the project. In relation to some of these disputable provisions, the government's share of the future profits was also heavily debated, with two main questions being the percentage of the profit received and a total profit in dollar terms over a period of exploitation. Right? Exploitation. The percentage, approximately 50%, was perceived as having been poorly negotiated. Right? Whereas the total profit depend on the magnitude of exploitation, the magnitude raising environmental concern, the UN Rights Committee in the 2016 in the session in July 2020 asked questions both on the negative effects on climate change from oil shore production and on the reports of corruption by public officials in relation to the 2016 oil licenses. Right? So them I get 50% of what them claim are going to be, you know, after we split it down the middle, after we don't take back our expenses, and we are going to give you a 2% royalty. So, in other words, we have to clear back our expenses before you can even get anything. Yeah. And the expenses, according to the piece that we watch, is estimated to surpass billions. The Human Rights Committee said that already if it appeared that Guyana might have been deprived of at least several tens of billions as a result of this contract. Guyana is a country where, according to the World Bank, half the population lives on less than $5.50 per day. Let that sink in. So in summary, Jamaican artists are not your main concern, or should be a main concern, Guyanese people, and ensure and WAP and whatever else should not be the major concern for the Jamaican government. It's trivial for these people to use this as a scapegoat to mislead you from the real issues, from the truth, from what is affecting poor people, from what is really causing crime and violence. Them keep telling you that, and I almost believed it at one point, until, of course, we have to educate yourself, that poverty does not lead to crime. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. Because we don't see this type of crime being committed in places like Qatar and other rich territories, because the people them well taken care of. The police force in Qatar well funded. The military well funded. Why them continue to keep black people in subjugation? Your guess is as good as mine. But what I believe is because we more put attention to things that are not the issues that we should be worrying about. A little youth come and sing song about violence or whatever. Yeah. But they are the cause of concern, all right, but they are the bottom of the barrel. This is not something where government should even now focus on. But of course, we want scapegoats to distract the people them from the real issues. Guyanese people, wake up. Caribbean people, wake up. There is a rush, a wealth rush, an oil rush in Guyana. And now that oil is so expensive, prepare for more drilling. And with more drilling is more possibility of an oil spill. And you know what's going to happen after that. And you know the cleanup. If them don't care about you and the dirty, contaminated water where them already polluted, why you think they're going to concern about you when the oil spill? Who is going to clean it up? Who is going to clean up the oil when it spills? Mr. Wellness, you have a cause for concern? And talking about Guyana? Mr. Andrew Wellness, you need to start pushing back at the drilling and the oil rush. But of course, you cannot say anything because you're not privy to say such things, because the economy hitman might show up at your doorstep. I take it back for safety purposes. Remember anything I said in this discussion? Please do not hold me accountable because I'm under the influence of rum. I was drinking heavily this morning and I'm still feeling the effect of the alcohol. And I was also smoking marijuana, and it may impact heavily on me or negatively on me in this presentation. Have a great day. Remember to support Driver. Download it. We have another video coming out this week called Let's Dance. Be open yourself. Guyanese people, I love you. Don't come after me. Go after the truth.